Hi everybody. If you see me in the same kind of context or whatever, it's just because I'm making a couple videos back to back and trying this shorter format sharing style. So yeah, the message today that I want to dive into real quick is don't wait on the intuitive instructions or the instructions you receive from God or the thing that you know in your soul of souls that kind of nags you quietly that says, hey, watch out for this, hey, make sure you do this, hey, make sure you don't do that again, or whatever it is for you. Don't put that off. Don't put it off. Even if it's a quiet whisper, even if it goes against what your flesh, your ego, your cravings, your desires want, don't put it off. And I'm saying this because I woke up today and I have been experiencing flare-ups with my health issues. I have histamine intolerance. I deal with that. And there were, moments over the last couple of months where I made dietary choices that were, in the long run and right now, very negatively affecting me. You can see what happens. I get eczema, I get this like rashiness in my face. It's somewhat visible, it's kind of inflamed and it's red and there's dryness and everything. And on the outside, to me, to other people, I guess it seems like having a sweet treat every now and again is okay and normal and shouldn't have these consequences. But when I fell into a habit of continually indulging my immediate cravings and built up this internal toxin load, and now I'm suffering the consequences. And it sucks. It does suck for me that I have to feel so much discomfort in my body when I want to eat something sweet, because it comes back around to me like days later. So I need to be very careful to eat intuitively, to eat clean, to eat balanced, and to eat in moderation, especially like sweet treat things like that. And I have a terrible sweet tooth. So I'm just sharing this little blip of my experience, my story, and this message to encourage those who need to hear it that, we can restrain ourselves together. We can be disciplined together. We can follow what we know on a soul core level to be true, to be good for us, so that we don't have to suffer the consequences of what will come later. And sometimes, at least for me, like I am being reminded again how important it is to listen to my intuition. Pretty much everything, or so many things in my life, come back to the importance of listening to my intuition, because I receive these instructions. I'm literally told what to eat, what to do by my intuition, by God, whatever you want to call it, by the universe. I say God and intuition. And clearly, when I don't follow that, I see the consequences. I mean, you can't really see too well, but like you see the redness and rashiness or whatever, and like this, may this be a reminder to you to do the good thing for your future now. Like, invest in your future, invest in yourself right now, and don't hold off. And I really just want to encourage this in myself and in those watching, because I don't want us to suffer the consequences of being lazy or being irresponsible or being lacking discipline, lacking devotion. Even when it's so hard, even when it's like the most undesirable, like even when you feel so unmotivated, that's when it's the most important to carry yourself, like a child, and deliver yourself to the future version of you that you want to be. And when you don't do that, there are consequences. It's never too late, and you're never too old to start from scratch or to start something new. And it is really hard to stay disciplined, to stay devoted, dedicated to doing things that go against what our flesh wants. It's so hard, especially in the physical world full of temptations. I can't go to a social event without seeing some food that's set out that's just, I can't eat it. Whether it's like, I could, but if I do, I'm gonna get a flare-up with processed foods, the seed oils, sugar, gluten, high histamine foods. Even lots of fruits are what are called histamine liberators, including all citruses, and everything that is rich in chlorophyll, meaning everything that is that deep dark green, like kale and I think maybe spinach, and certain other like vegetables or stuff, like legumes. I don't even like legumes, but beans and lentils, they're common. They're in lots of food at lots of social things that I go to, and that's hard to avoid. Dairy sometimes, and lots of oils. Even processed foods. It's like, I love a snack, I love a chip, okay? But a lot of the time, the oils in these, snacks are like rancid. Even if it's like the healthy potato chip with like avocado oil and it's really thick, and I don't even know how to legally talk about food like this. But these are just things that I've learned, that I've heard, and it's hard. Like, this is my struggle. This is my challenge. And I love food. I love taste. I love like the pleasure of just like comfort food, or like a pastry. It's my kryptonite. Which is kind of embarrassing to say, but it's extremely true, obviously, as my actions have proved that to be true. And I'm not saying that eating on a limited diet can be boring. Routine can get boring, and that's why it's important to spice things up. One thing, and again, I hope my story can be encouraging for people who need to hear it, but one thing that I did to try to make following my histamine intolerance diet more fun and more easy is, when I lived in a house and I was able to host people, I hosted a Dark Crystal movie screening party and low histamine potluck. So I basically gave my friends a list of everything they couldn't put in their dishes, and I don't think I said this, but one thing that I could do in the future, or that I maybe should have done, is to tell people to Google whether the ingredients they want to use are low histamine or not, because I think a lot of people would be surprised that there is a tremendous amount of food that's like, healthy food, but it's high in histamine. It's a histamine liberator. So I told my friends the guidelines for what we're allowed to do and make, and we had a healthy potluck, and we enjoyed this like social experience together. And I think that's another really important point, that it's like, we can't do these things alone. It's so hard to do these things alone. So I hope that me sharing the video, making my experience public, helps other people feel less alone and inspires other people to do what I found that works, to stay committed and devoted to a special path. It's like, in life, we need our sangha, our spiritual community. A community is essential. It's almost impossible, in my experience, well, it's not impossible, but it is unbelievably challenging to confront my ego alone by myself. This automatic light just went on in my bathroom, and I was like, because you have to move to do it, and I think my cat's in there. Yeah, she's in there, but I don't know how it even picked it up, because she's anyway. Yeah, so it is really difficult to stay committed and devoted to, discipline outside of the context of a community. Like, I don't know if anyone watching has ever done a Vipassana course, but we basically are meditating at least 10 hours a day for 10 days in a row. And that's the 10-day course, not the 1 or 3 month, immersion. I know that they have those as well. Sometimes people do it for years, sometimes it's a lifetime. I don't even know, monks. But yeah, it would be so challenging to stay accountable to meditating 10 hours a day for me for 10 days in a row, and not looking anyone in the eye, and eating clean food, etc., if I didn't have communal accountability and the context, the container. So this is an important reminder for me, and a reminder for anyone who needs to hear this at this time. Like, first of all, don't put all the pressure on yourself for failing, because we need support. There are some things we can't do alone, including existing, okay? Are you kidding? People, I think there is this really messed up cultural, social narrative of like this hyper independence, and it's disgusting to me. Honestly, it's revolting. It's like, I'm so averse to that idea, because even if in some ways I play into it, which I'm not going to deny, I have my selfish programs. I buy things for me. I mean, I don't know if that's like a selfish thing or whatever, but like, whatever. I'm living in this matrix, in this whatever you want to call it, where like there are a lot of structures set up around me that are designed to put so much focus on the individual, my needs, my priorities, my blah 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 blah, which are important, but also they're not exclusive. They're not, I don't know how to put this into words, they're not exclusively the most important, the only important thing that matters. And not to downplay them, but I think what has been downplayed is the necessity, really, and the importance of our interdependency. Do you realize that the phone that you are using, or the computer, the tablet that you're using to watch this video, was made possible by, God knows, a whole infinite web of people? Not only the people who harvested the minerals to create the LCD screens that you're watching this video on, but their families, their parents who gave birth to them, okay? Their families, their communities, their friends that kept them connected, the relationships that were formed in order for them to make these things possible. Literally everything that exists, everything that's made, is a result of the interconnectedness of the web of life. So don't for a second let yourself identify with this lie that you are a failure and you are fundamentally wrong and you need fixing, and you are gonna be susceptible to being preyed on by greedy people who just want to exploit your vulnerability because you are not supported by a community. That's what happens. It's absurd, it's disgusting, it's ridiculous. And you are not flawed fundamentally. You are a human being. You are a human being. And if you're flawed fundamentally, then so are the rest of us, because we are nature. We are human. We are one. We are all the same, okay? So this is all deriving from my point, which is I just want to encourage us to, again, follow through with what we feel driven to do. And especially if you are someone who is a convention breaker, who lives outside of the norm, who, lives life in a way that you don't really see a lot of people collectively doing around you. I don't see a lot of people when I like walk into a store, or like I go hang out with friends, or like I go to an event or whatever. Like I don't see spaces that make my particular health issues visible or support for those things accessible. You know what I mean? So many people are in this world with quote unquote disabilities or setbacks, but they're not disabilities or setbacks. It's like, it's just that we don't have the support. We're not living in a context where our unique expression and embodiment of our human nature is acknowledged or supported in the way that it needs to be in order for us to flourish and thrive. And I feel like I have just been spitting fire. It feels really good to talk about this. Remind myself, like, have another low histamine potluck. Honestly, and so, like, again, if you are someone who kind of lives outside of convention, like I was just saying, I would encourage you to invite your community to join you and support you, and find something that you can do or experience together with people that supports what you need, what you depend on in order to flourish, that they can be invited into to also enjoy with you. Come together and share some common value, something, and have this positive experience communally to help you, to support you through this time. So that's all I have to say. That feels so rich, so decadent. Thanks for listening. If you want to support me, find out more about the readings that I offer, the art that I offer and sell, and my psychic and intuitive offerings, check out my description below. And if you like this video and you want to financially support it, I do have tip jars, which is always appreciated. And see you next time. Bye.